I mean, the movie looks flashy enough, the voice performances are okay, and the brand recognition here is absolutely through the roof, but it's Illumination. They'll find a way to fuck it up. They found a way to fuck it up.
Really? It didn't seem that bad to me.
Shh. It doesn't have Princess Daisy.
But that shouldn't
Do I have to repeat myself?
Nintendo! Ow! Right! Yeah! Daisy!
Hello, my name is Hunter, the movie reviewing horse, because when it comes to cinema...
You good?
No. I'm looking for Nintendo lawyers. They can't be trusted either. Mario. Fucking Mario. And I guess the other guy. Luigi? Okay, back to Mario. Mario is the king of video games, rivaled only by the paddle from Pong, and even then, it's not even a fight. In 1983, Mario single-handedly saved the video game industry from the likes of Atari, the E.T. video game, Donkey Kong, and Billy Mitchell. And then, Sega throws their hat into the ring. And they actually put up a decent fight until they make the jump to 3D. And Mario 64 is still widely acclaimed as one of the greatest video games of all time. Sonic Adventure is not. Super Mario Sunshine is a game that was so good they had to throw Mario in jail. Meanwhile, in Sonic Adventure 2, people would rather hang out in a Chow Garden than play Sonic Adventure 2. This unfair rivalry will continue for decades, culminating in Bowser's Fury versus Sonic Frontiers. And if Sonic Frontiers is anything to go by...
Okay, it's time to get me no longer profit like the NASDAQ. Move white girls like the smoke from my ass crack. Move black girls from red bucket out.
Yeah, okay, this isn't even a fair fight anymore. Mario wins the video games. Watching Sonic flail around for a while trying to come up with good ideas was fun at first, but now it's just sad. But then... plot twist. Sonic makes the jump to the big screen. Not graciously, as you would expect from Sonic. Sega is still a little drunk here. It took them a couple tries to get this right. But a film review expert and dashingly handsome horse gave it a 6.5. And the second one got a 7.
Well. How the turntables...
At this point, Mario was no stranger to the silver screen, but not in a good way. It was more fitting to say that we had no Mario movie, which was kind of ironic because it was more about Luigi. This was a crisis for Nintendo. Someone had to run up to Shigeru Miyamoto and tell him, Bob Hoskins is dead. We have no Mario. Jim Carrey is dancing circles around us. We need a new Mario. So the greatest minds of a generation came together with unlimited funds and permission to act outside the bounds of moral and legal obligations, all in the effort of answering one question. How do we make the biggest man in video games into a movie? Chris Pratt, apparently.
He's so cool.
They say first impressions are everything, and when the internet is already throwing shade at you for your casting choices, first impressions on this movie, not great. Though to be perfectly honest, first impressions on the Sonic movie were a whole lot worse. Trailers for this finally started dropping back on October 6th. Even if this right here is less of a trailer and more like the first shot of the movie. Chris Pratt voicing Mario wasn't the only questionable casting choice in this movie. In fact, we had a whole slew of them. Luigi is voiced by Charlie Day, and I swear the only reason they're doing that is because they watched that one video where he was dubbed over by Sonny and Philly.
Wait, all the way home?
Yes.
So you saw me eat that Hot Pocket I found in the garbage?
Yes.
Any thoughts on that?
No.
Oh man, I like you. Come on in.
And Seth Rogen. What the hell? Seth Rogen is here voicing Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong! Seth Rogen. Donkey Kong! You got Anna Taylor-Joy over here voicing Princess Peach. And of course you have Jack Black over here playing Bowser. Completely stealing the show, I might add. Jack Black playing Bowser. The first vocal performance we heard was not Chris Pratt playing Mario, it was Jack Black playing Bowser. And the moment we heard him in this trailer, we knew this will be the Jim Carrey of the Mario Cinematic Universe.
Were you excited to play Bowser?
Yeah, I was totes excited.
But oh no! The production company you got for this was Illumination.
Oh no!
A studio that is so creatively tapped out, it's honestly scary. I don't think anyone has liked anything they've put out since Despicable Me 2. Though to be fair, I honestly expected less from the guys who supervised Ice Age and the other Ice Age, and probably 15 more Ice Age movies. This is the founder of Illumination that we're talking about, by the way. I think most of the problems with this marketing campaign, though, stemmed from Chris Pratt. By the time the second trailer rolled around, we were still complaining about Chris Pratt. By the time the first clip of the film came out, we were still complaining about Chris Pratt. This is like over a month later. Among other lackluster things, Ash Parrish from The Verge said, despite the skepticism surrounding Chris Pratt's performance as Mario, the movie's visuals, and I cannot stress this enough, only the visuals, look incredible. It wasn't looking good for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And despite having all of these flaws, it still came out, it made its budget back, smashed records, had everybody go to see it, and made my job look completely pointless. And that's a problem for me. Let's put all our cards on the table here. This movie has no idea what it wants to do. Mario is just too much game, not enough substance. And without all that substance, it just kind of devolves into game. You are very aware throughout all of this movie that you are, in fact, watching something based on a video game. And it's cobbled together with bog-standard story beats, a beyond generic plotline, an isekai setup, and a universe that can't separate itself from the video games it's based on. It's very clear that Illumination had no idea how to turn this into a decent movie, so they went with the most standard plotline they could come up with. Because let's face it, who gives a shit? You know it's gonna make its money back. You know it's gonna make over $500 million. Fuckers are gonna see this movie anyway. Who gives a shit? We don't have to do anything. Our brand recognition is bigger than Star Wars, and we have all of these generic movie stars to back it up. So who gives a shit? Give the writing team like $7 to come up with whatever. I'm angry. They know they didn't have to try to write something good, so they didn't. As a result, this movie is having an identity crisis. It can't separate itself from the games. But the mentality of people makes it seem like it's okay for them to do this because it made nearly $700 million at the box office. Illumination doesn't give a shit. The viewers don't give a shit. So why should I give a shit for any reason other than the hope that I will one day be able to turn this show into a career so that I can pay my rent and keep myself fed? Movies like this are the reason critics aren't taken seriously, and it makes me angry. Sorry to turn this into a rant about my job, but I tell people not to see movies, and they see them anyway. You went to see this movie, don't lie. You know you did. Don't try to cover it up. Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 58% from critics and a 96% from the audience. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. But let's back up. Let's take this a bit slower. Let's rip this movie apart piece by piece.
Free the princess, or Yoshi here will eat your castle piece by piece until we find her.
In terms of how it looks, this movie gets top marks across the board. Only spending $7 on writing the movie actually went a long way towards the visual effects budget. We don't need to advertise this. Nintendo money is gonna do that for us. That or it's going to sue another YouTuber. Probably me. Because I'm calling you out. You don't deserve a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It probably doesn't deserve that 56% either, though. Alright, meet me halfway on this one. Let's start by putting our best foot forward, which is the visuals. Let's put our other best foot forward. Bowser, Jack Black, Peaches. This was amazing. Jack Black Bowser is to Mario what Jim Carrey Robotnik was to Sonic. He brings so much life to this movie. There's something about these video game tie-in movies and their villains that just works. I don't know if it's Hollywood writers trying to get us to sympathize with the villains more. For all I know, it could be because these villains are played by borderline insane people that enjoy life just a little too much. And let's face it, Jack Black is definitely insane and he's enjoying life just a little too much. And he really likes octagons.
This stop sign is an octagon!
Some of these casting choices I actually agree with, though. Not swapping out Charles Martinet as the voice of Mario, though. That's the only one I don't forgive. But Anna Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach... Peach always had this really unendearing voice, let's be honest. And Toad. Fucking Toad. And apparently, somebody snitched. Somebody ratted me out to the Nintendo writers and said, oh, you can win Hunter over with those big, booming orchestral numbers. So they did orchestral versions of all the regular Mario songs. Now, some of the melodies in Mario's soundtrack may be a bit too chipper for some of the stuff going on in this movie, but I'm also heavily biased towards them. So, yeah, maybe you can win me over with that. Maybe you can. But I also hate the rest of this soundtrack. Bunch of licensed music. I hate this stuff. It has no business being here. If you've watched our video on in-universe soundtracks, you know what I'm talking about. They put I Need a Hero in this movie for their montage, and I don't need a hero. I need a better soundtrack. So, when we go to do Super Mario Bros. 2, and you know they're gonna do Super Mario Bros. 2, let's try a new tactic. Something that works. The soundtrack is hit or miss. That's what I'm getting at here. I think we kind of drifted into the bad parts of this movie, but I'm starting to think that's unavoidable. That's just the kind of review this is gonna be. Everything good about this movie seems to have a downside, except Jack Black. Luigi, for example. I actually really liked Luigi being played by Charlie Day, and I've actually always been a fan of the lanky green guy. I just wish he was getting more screen time in this movie. The visuals are great, I just wish we had a good story to back it up. Even if they intend to use this as a springboard to create the Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
So where does Smash Brothers fit into the whole Nintendo Cinematic Universe?
Oh, that's easy. Avengers-style mashup film. In fact, it feels like this movie was purpose-built for the sole purpose of trying to establish a foundation for a cinematic universe. This is just them testing the waters a little bit to see how it'll go, because Nintendo's been out of the game for a while. They used to be everywhere when it came to TV and movies. Between the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, Kirby Right Back At Ya, Captain N the Game Master, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World the TV series, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and the original Mario Bros. Movie. Yeah, they've been around the block a few times, but they've been out of the game for a while. And everything I just listed wasn't exactly great. In terms of TV shows, it kind of just feels like they've been writing Pokemon for a while ever since they got the rights to it. And even so, that wasn't really Nintendo. They have their fair share of stuff under their belt outside of video games, but they've been pretty quiet for the past 2, maybe 3 decades. So it stands to reason why they're just, testing the waters a little bit, just waiting out a little bit just to see how this goes. Let's not get too crazy. However, if nearly 700 million is anything to go by, the water seems pretty inviting. Especially if they can pull it off with this terrible story. We gotta talk about the story, okay? I've held off long enough talking about the story. The story is terrible. This is one of the most generic stories I've ever seen. Which is not helped by the fact that every Mario game follows the same storyline of princess gets kidnapped, collect the shiny things, go fight Bowser. Which is ironic because Peach was actually competent in this movie. Like, really competent. God, I think she had her shit together more than Mario. Which is another thing. Every 10 minutes, they're beating up Mario in this movie. Like, a lot. 10 minutes into our isekai adventure, Luigi gets thrown in jail, and Mario just keeps getting the shit kicked out of him. Like, the amount of punches this guy takes is hard to believe.
Stop! He's already dead.
So it's a violent isekai. A lot of Koopa Troopas and Goombas died during Battle of the Rainbow Road. And why carts? That part was a bit weird. So was Seth Rogen Donkey Kong. Honestly, DK was probably the least endearing character of our entire main cast. Seth Rogen is not entertaining. Seth Rogen's side plot is poorly explained. Seth Rogen is not funny. And the worst part is he's trying to be funny when he's not funny.
So, Illumination does isekai?
Yes. Don't we all?
Oh, right. Matt's mind did one.
The word isekai gets thrown around a lot these days, but that's mostly because the market is oversaturated with them. But that's nothing new. We've known that the market has been oversaturated with isekai for years now. But this one was kind of lame. It didn't even have all of our favorite characters like Danny DeVito playing Wario or Waluigi or Daisy.
Thank you!
Yeah, you thought it was gonna be just some bit at the beginning of the review. No, I'm legitimately upset about that. This is baseline Mario. We get pretty much no one from the Mario expanded universe. Also, yes, Donkey Kong is baseline. He came first. Luma Lee doesn't count because Luma Lee was sitting in jail for the whole movie waiting for the sweet release of death. That's real. That is how they wrote the character. I'm not exaggerating. I think it even said that at one point.
There's no escape. The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Fun movie, right? But it's not all strictly speaking bad. The visuals, for example. I've talked about the visuals, but let's talk about the visuals again. It's fantastic. The visuals are the most fantastic part of the movie. And that's not saying a lot because I also like the visuals in Wonder Park, and I did not give that movie a good score. What's their face from earlier in this review was right. The visuals, and I cannot stress this enough, only the visuals look fantastic. The characters are likable, but I would expect that from a Mario movie. And in terms of how it looks, it's not gonna scare children like the 1993 movie. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really say much. Yeah, it looks good, but it doesn't have a script, which is a thing that I stole from Donkey because I just watched his thing about the movie. It came out an hour ago. He didn't like it either. Honestly, I think he said it best. Nintendo wanted a 90-minute commercial for their video games, and this is what Illumination came up with. Probably could have just led with that and saved us about 20 minutes of review, couldn't I? And now I have to rate this movie at the risk of Nintendo fanatics coming after me. Knowing that, and knowing that a 5 out of 10 is a perfectly average movie, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Because I'm pretty sure this movie is lost. If you're a Nintendo fan, you're already going to see this movie. Eventually. You're gonna see it because you're a Mario fan. You're gonna see it because Nintendo is the most well-known game company on the planet. The brand recognition here is through the roof. And that is what is going to drive the Mario Cinematic Universe to even greater heights than this. They're already talking about potential spin-offs for other Nintendo properties, such as Legend of Zelda, maybe Pikmin, Metroid Prime. Where is Metroid Prime 4, Nintendo? Where is my Prime 4? And my Wind Waker Switch port? And my Animal Crossing movie? Splatoon movie when? These are the questions we're going to be asking about the Nintendo Cinematic Universe in the coming years. At the end of the day, this was marginally more entertaining than the Sonic movies, even if it didn't have a Goblin Mario to laugh at. But the sheer amount of money that this made, that is going to be the driving force that will hopefully deliver us something even better down the line. Something that has better writing, something that has a decent plot, something that has Princess Daisy in it. We're not there yet, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I needed to spend 20 minutes yelling at this movie just to vent some frustration. But you're already gonna see this movie. And it already made gobs and gobs of money. And there's nothing that we can do to stop it. If you go see this movie, it's really up to you. It's not like my opinion is going to make a difference at this point anyway. And maybe, here's hoping, that this could be the beginning of something awesome. One day, maybe we will have decent Mario movies. Right now, this is a dit. And you know what? I think that's okay. At least for now. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review. And the best part is, we got this done in a timely manner.
Why does that matter? These things sometimes go on for an hour.
Because it gives the Nintendo lawyers less of an excuse to come after us.
Oh, come on, Hunter. What's the worst they can do? Cut us off?
Want to keep up to date on all the things that Headhunter Productions has going on? Well, consider joining our Discord server. You get announcements as soon as videos are published, announcements on all of our streams, and you get to interact with the community and me directly. If you want to support Headhunter Productions and everything I do, including paying off this scooter, getting the Nintendo lawyers off our backs, getting all of the other legal problems off our backs, consider a Patreon pledge over on our Patreon. And as always, special thanks to all of our Patreon donors: Oliver Vickman, Viral Velocity, Death 9000, Madison Woods, Dark Blue Fire, the FOE3, Gavin Domenico, Saxon One, and Tribal Typhoon. Some Patreon exclusive stuff is on the way, so keep an eye out for that. Hunter Reviews is going to be going on a bit of a break while I take the time to work on some other video projects. I'm still going to be very active, but this show will be back. There will be smaller reviews, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's really late. I'm going to bed.